As uni classes finally return to some semblance of normal, our campuses are finally bustling with that hectic energy that only comes when uni's term starts. So, to help out some of my fellow students, my name is Jacinda, and I'm here to provide some top tips and essentials to make your university year as productive and as easy as possible. Number 1, get a weekly planner. For those who don't already know, your uni life is going to be busy. You've got assignments and quizzes and exams due every few weeks, social events as you make new friends or catch up with old ones, and for some of us, work shifts to attend every few days. Having a planner is extremely useful so that you are fully aware of every event, every due date, and nothing can catch you by surprise. It's also really useful to plan out assignments and put in any errands that you may need to run throughout the week. I like to use this physical one just because I like seeing everything in one place. I think it helps make it clearer, but obviously you can use a digital calendar as well. I just pop in my dates, my events, classes, homework, etc. And as I complete them, I like to highlight them just so I can feel like I'm being productive. Number 2, gather course materials in advance. I cannot stress this enough. The number of times I've been in like a second tutorial and the tutor just says something like, "Okay, now everyone pull out your textbooks." It is not even funny the amount of times I've just been stressed out and blindsided by something like that. So, organize your textbooks early. A really good tool I like to use is Booktopia's textbook finder, where if you just search up a unit code for your course, it comes up with the textbooks that you may need. So obviously compare this to your unit of study guideline or syllabus, but I just find it's a really nifty tool, and especially because they're an Australian bookshop, it means that they cater a lot to Australian study. So you're more than likely to actually find the textbooks available, and from there it's really easy to just make a purchase. Number 3, productivity aids. These have been a lifesaver for me during heavy study and exam periods, especially as we have to keep continually studying at home. A particular app I like to use is Flora, where you can set your break and study time, and it stops you from accessing your phone during that time. The idea being that you get to grow new exotic plants every time you complete a study session. The flip side of that is that the plant dies if you don't complete the study session and you give in to accessing your phone. And I find this guilt is actually quite good at motivating me to complete my study. Something else I use is called Life at Virtual Spaces, which is a website that has been really useful for helping motivate me when I just get so bored at being at my desk, because it places me in a new setting. Essentially, you get to choose a new setting. For example, I'm just looking at these libraries from around the world. It'll provide the ambience or sound, and then you just get to set a timer, and it really just gets me out of my head sometimes if I'm just stuck at my desk. You can achieve a similar effect with Study With Me YouTube videos, which also provide time breaks and a change of scenery. Which leads me to number 4, study spaces. If you're anything like me, you're going to feel fatigued throughout the term and you're just going to get tired of studying at your desk. So a great way to counter that, apart from what I mentioned before, is to actively get out of there. Get out of your home and find a new place to study. While uni libraries are a well-known study space to students, I really do recommend actually getting out there and exploring your campus because there are often a lot of places that are quieter or less crowded or better equipped. Classrooms, essentially, if they're not booked and they're not being used, are free domain. So for example, I popped into uni on a Wednesday afternoon and found this learning hub free. And this is actually a computer lab, which means I could use these computers and use programs that I don't actually have at home. For example, the entire Adobe Cloud. You can also check out cafes, not even necessarily those just on campus, but I do recommend it just because anything, even studying, can be made better with the addition of food. It's also great for people who don't like working in complete silence, because obviously cafes have a bit more noise. I love this campus cafe specifically because it's got a really wide space and I can have lunch while I catch up on some readings before my next class. Number 5, optional technological aids. If your budget can afford it, I cannot recommend enough getting a monitor. I got one last year and I am never going back. And anyone who has gotten a monitor will tell you the same thing. Having a larger screen somehow just makes everything clearer. It makes it easier to organize the tasks that you're doing, especially during remote learning when there's often a lot going on digitally. What I like to do is I'll pop my Zoom class on my laptop screen while I take notes on my monitor. So during tutorials and seminars, I just find that's a much easier way to arrange my workspace. I also do recommend getting a laptop fan, especially as Zoom meetings and classes continue to be the norm. Often the laptops that we've bought or have aren't really suited for having a program as large as Zoom run while you're doing everything else you need from class. So they often do start to overheat. So having a laptop fan gets rid of that worry, and it's often really easy to just plug in with a USB and it just stops my laptop from going into overdrive. So there you have it, my top 5 essentials/tips for returning to uni. I hope you did learn something from this video, and if you did, please give us a like and a subscribe. Until next time, I hope you all keep safe, keep healthy, and have a productive year.